So, I was tooling around on YouTube after I finished recording. And I saw an interesting title. And I watched the video. Now I want to talk about it. So, apparently, Zoe Quinn, who I'm sure many of you remember from Gamergate, and if you don't, I will try and illustrate the type of person we're talking about here as we go on. Zoe Quinn went to Twitter and made allegations against another game developer named Alec. His last name is weird. I don't remember it entirely, and I don't want to fuck it up. Alec made allegations against this guy that were pretty strong. Sexual assault allegations, and the mob, of course, went after him. His job fired him. Pretty much just lost everything, right? Now, there was no trial. There was no evidence shown. There was an account given. And I don't know if it's true or false. There's been no trial. There's been no evidence given. All we have is her story. Right? So, right? Dude loses everything because Zoe Quinn tells a story about him. And he killed himself. Now, I'm somebody who has dealt with, I always like to call it an affinity for death. I wanted to die for as long as I can remember. I like my life. I really do enjoy my life. I take medication now to regulate that. And since I've started taking the medication, I haven't had any of it. Now, I'll also say it was getting closer to moving. I moved. Things are infinitely better now. My internet works. I'm paying a lot less money. I'm saving a lot of money in other ways. Like, things are good. I'm solid, right? Like, I'm all good. We're good. And that also factors into it. When things are going good in my life, I don't generally think about killing myself. It's when things are going bad, that's when those thoughts creep in. But I made it through the stress of moving and all of that. Didn't have one suicidal thought once. I kind of blame it on the pills. Because I've moved a lot, and that was a first. So, I've discussed it before. There really is no reason to worry. Like, I consider suicide at the most odd random times for the most odd random things. Like, I get up and I go, I'm so tired. I don't really want to go to work today. I could just kill myself. Like, that's how it works. It's shit like that. It's the most retarded reasons. And I think that the reason why I keep thinking of it like that and why I keep kind of doing it like that is so that it continues to be something where it's laughable to me. You know what I mean? And I think that's what keeps me alive. But nevertheless, we all have our fucking, hustles, whatever. But we all deal with our demons in our own ways. And this guy killed himself. And I read his sister's post. And I don't know how true that is. His sister told a story about him. Two people have still told a story about this guy. Zoe Quinn told a story about how he sexually assaulted her. And then his sister told a story about how he's always been troubled. He's always had mental illness. And he's always struggled with dealing with it, and he's always not been a good guy. But recently, he's gotten into a really good program, and he really changed his life around, and everything was starting to go good, and things were very different. He was a very different person, and he was trying to get past it all. So then Zoe Quinn is going to have to see this dude's name every day at work, because he's a programmer, she's a programmer, and apparently she's doing programming with, I don't know, his drive or something like that. I don't have a clue what the fuck, but whatever. So Zoe Quinn's going to have to see his name every day, and he sexually assaulted her. And so she can't bear for the world to not know that this dude assaulted her. She's going to have to see his name every day. Now, I get that. I've worked with people that I despise. And it's difficult. You struggle through. And if you're a tough person, you maybe confide in a friend. Maybe they encourage you to go to the police. Maybe if a crime has been committed, you go to the people that do that kind of stuff. She didn't go to the police. She went to Twitter and told everybody on Twitter a story about this guy. All of her followers on Twitter, of course, immediately took her side, because women are to be listened to and then immediately believed. And of course, because they are people that think that way, and I'm not laughing at the concept of it because women, I'm laughing at the concept of it because people, like, really? I wouldn't say, I can't honestly tell you that if my mother were to tell me the same story that Zoe Quinn told about this Alec guy, right? About some other person, I can honestly tell you, I would be like, that's a sad story. If it's true, that's a very sad story. You've told me a very sad story. It's unfortunate. You should go to the police. That is what, But Zoe Quinn is very brave. She's very brave for telling her sad story about this guy on Twitter, instead of going to the police, who are going to want her to provide evidence and proof to back up her story as fact. She's very brave because she went to Twitter, and all of the people that actively chose to follow her, love her or hate her, who are going to need no evidence, no proof. They don't care. Zoe said it. It's true. She's very brave. Very fucking brave. I don't know if this guy did it or not. And I think that's a problem. We're never going to know if this guy did it or not. And I think that's a problem. because the act of suicide both confirms and denies the possibility that this guy did it. He could have taken his life because he was guilty and he was caught and everything came crashing down. Or he could have taken his life because he was innocent, knew that there was no fucking way anyone would ever believe him, and no fucking way that he could ever get a fair day in court. How do you prove your innocence? That's not how our system works. How do I prove I didn't fuck you and you didn't want it to happen? How do I prove I didn't rape you? Right? If you can't prove I did it, how do I prove I didn't? Like... Well, you don't need that on Twitter. It's just, I don't know. It's infuriating. It's like Jeffrey Epstein. Are we going to find out that Jeffrey Epstein was selling children to rich people as prostitutes, or didn't he? Because, being murdered, killing yourself in your cell, both confirms and denies. The sister's story, however, also kind of confirms and denies. She doesn't confirm that Zoe's story is true. She doesn't outright say he did it. She mentions that he was a bad person in the past. She acknowledges that. It's not confirming Zoe's story, but it's also not denying what she's saying. So, but I think no matter what, if a crime has been committed, you should go to people that deal with that. Like, and I remember August Ames. It was a very similar story. August was a very troubled girl, and she was apparently, this is the way I understand it, apparently in the sex industry, like straight and lesbian, sex that involves the girls are the prized commodity. So anything that involves the girls is very tightly regulated. They do a whole lot of testing and all manner of stuff. Make sure the girls are very, very safe, right? Gay guys, however, whatever. They just fuck each other. Like, that's like... If you ever watch Spartacus, anything that involves girls is the Roman Colosseum, right? Anything that's gay dudes, that's kind of like the underworld fights, where it's fucking pretty much anything goes. This dude and this dude, and they get these... You get a big dildo and you get a butt plug. Like, then fucking they go at it. Like... So it's apparently the fucking underworld, pit fights in gay porn world. So, right, they kind of have problems with disease because it's not as strictly regulated, right? The testing isn't as, And August got on Twitter, which again, like, like, it's one of those things where I go, why, you should probably text the girl personally. I don't know. But I'm sure that there's a story there that led August to doing this to Twitter. She doesn't seem the type that would immediately leap to that. I don't know. I wound up learning a lot about her during that time. I read up on her. But she got on Twitter and said something like, to whoever it is they got to replace me in tomorrow's shoot, the guy that they have you partnered with also does gay porn. Something like that. And people saw that and fucking freaked out and called her, homophobic and all this sort of thing. And she's like, no, listen, it's, and of course, you can't explain. You can't explain. No, it doesn't make any sense if you explain it. You're homophobic. So, she got fucking blasted for like a week or so. And I think she killed herself. It wasn't too long afterward. She killed herself. And, man. And I mean, she's not even saying that there's actually a crime. She's not even calling out the dude personally. She's not even saying he is HIV positive or anything like that. Like, she wasn't even alleging anything. She was just pointing out a fact. And that girl could have seen that and said, well, no, fair enough, I don't care. And whatever. But everybody that saw it fucking decided that she was homophobic. And I'm like, I masturbated to a lot of lesbian scenes with her. That's odd. God. So, it's one of those things. And it's this guy too. I don't know for a fact that he did it. And I find that to be a problem. And I'm curious as to something. The guy has mental illness, grabs a gun and goes out and shoots a whole lot of people. What's the problem? Gun. Girl alleges accusations over Twitter at a guy who has mental problems and then he kills himself. What's the problem? Is it Twitter? Do we need to get rid of Twitter? Are we going to hear politicians talk? I mean, we're not going to hear politicians talking about this, but are we going to hear people talking about we need to get rid of Twitter? Huh? Is it going to be mental illness? Well, it's not mental illness in the case of shootings, so why would it be mental illness in the case of suicide? Would it be the girls just alleging things over Twitter? I mean, that kind of sounds like a problem to me. Like, if a crime has been committed, you should go to the people that handle that. And I kind of call into question, in today's day and age of social media, if somebody alleges something against somebody else, if it's unproven, I mean, that is, what is it? Libel? It would be libel because it'd be written, right? Yeah. You say it, do it in a video, it'd be slander. Do it in the thing, it'd be libel, right? So, I don't know. Can you sue for that sort of thing? Is that still legal to sue for libel if it's an accusation of sexual assault? Just kind of wonder. But what happens if the guy kills himself? Is that manslaughter? If your unproven, unfactual, possibly libelous story caused somebody with mental health problems to take their own life, is there a crime there? Is that like murderous libel? Would it be like Murder 6 or something like that? I don't know. I don't even know how the murder rankings go, but I know there's a bunch of them. So what would that be? Is she possibly liable for damages? Because she alleged something over Twitter that technically is libelous until it is proven to be true. Right? Isn't that how that works? I don't know. Maybe I should have looked that up. But, I mean, I don't know. One has to wonder, how responsible is one for one's tweets and the response given? Is the mob responsible? Or is it just, well, he was sick and he killed himself? Doesn't matter what it was that happened before he killed himself. He was sick, he killed himself. I mean, shit, in hockey you get 2 minutes for instigating, right? Like, fucking, come on! If the guy was on the road to recovery in a good program, working with therapists and whatnot, and he was turning his life around, all of a sudden this story comes out that's not proven. And he kills himself. Because of social media backlash. Is there a crime there? I honestly don't know. All of you armchair lawyers, I'm asking the question. Is there a crime there?